What's up, everybody? This is Manny from We Are Change East Bay, and I'm here with Greg, and we're going to be talking about tons of issues. This is episode 60, right?
It's a 60.
So,
60.
Alright, so some of the topics that we're going to be covering today, I'll let Greg go into them. We got, what do we got? Fukushima.
Always.
We still got Fukushima going on.
Well, yeah, it's still going on. It never stopped, you know. The only thing that stopped was that first it was big mainstream news, and then it wasn't. And then it was like, oh, now it's, okay. Now it's still melting.
Right.
It's still melting. That's like almost 3 years now, and it's still melting.
Day 900. So
what are we going to do?
Right, what are we going to do? And another topic is we have a lot of usurpation of the states going on right now, where the federal government is trying to take legally owned firearms from citizens in the state of California. And me being a resident of the California Republic, my home country, a member state of the United States, the Union that was formed in 1776, I feel that I'm going to talk a little bit about the 10th Amendment today.
10th Amendment, okay.
And states' rights and how that applies. So, with that said, we also got Syria going on. I mean, we're literally at the dawn, or perhaps
this
even
could
in
be
World War
III. It really could, yeah, it's very possible. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with this whole chemical weapons thing. Because that's really the big thing that's happening now. Who use it?
I think that's more or less the litmus test.
But I'm also worried about some type of terrorist thing happening here. And really in San Francisco.
False flag in San Francisco. So we'll get into that.
Just don't do it, pretty much.
Yeah, we'll get into that. And also, too, another thing that's still going on, another one that's been dropped out of the public's eye is Snowden. Consistently being demonized for...
He's still in Russia.
Committing acts of bravery. Yes, he is definitely still in Russia. As far as we know, his current whereabouts are.
He's still there. And we know that he is a real person, right?
He is an actual human being, yes. He's not a reptilian from Planet Pop-Tart like some conspiracy theorists out there on the interweb would consistently argue, and to me that's just a waste of time.
Okay,
those people are crazy.
What makes Snowden so different from everybody else who has come out and said the exact same thing that Snowden has said?
I think the difference between Snowden and them is the timing and when it has happened. So here's the thing.
And because you have Dianne Feinstein saying we're gonna hunt you down, basically.
Right.
I mean,
and us being residents from the Republic of California.
Like what?
She's
Screw you, lady.
supposedly representing us.
She doesn't represent me.
No, she does not. We've been trying
she doesn't represent a lot of
for years to get her out of office. I mean, even since the days of the dead Kennedys, she was in office just running amok.
You know, what do you think of Cindy Sheehan for governor?
I think I'd have to vote for her, but the only thing that would keep me from doing it is some of her leftist leanings. Some of them are a little extreme. I'm not going to get too deep into them because, you know, me and my anti-commie rants and how they go.
Well, this has always been a Russia port, right? I mean,
that's what they say. So maybe, I don't know. You know, I like a lot of what she has done in the past, like camping out in front of George Bush's, what was that? I always forget the name. The Gardens. What was that? She would be at the Gardens.
Camp David.
Yeah, she'd be at Camp David at the front.
It actually became Camp Cindy, right?
Pretty much. I mean, she was there for, I don't even know how many years. It was several years of campaign.
That was very powerful.
Her son was killed in Iraq, an unjust war that was based completely on lies of yellow cake.
That's still happening. It's still going on.
Right, and the devastation and the effects are going to be felt for, we don't know how long. I mean maybe if we just leave, maybe things will just end. You know, just get the hell out of their backyard.
Why are people celebrating this president when all that he has done is continue everything that Bush has done and then added at least 2 more wars on top of that? And people are praising him like he's some great human being. It's just George Bush. It's the same thing. You got the same guy.
Now you're being racist.
Okay, whatever. Maybe I'm racist.
That's what the mainstream media is going to tell you.
Still true. Well, yeah.
Because everyone
but they can't back it up. But they can't prove it.
No,
I can prove it.
It's because all of the racist people out there,
of course,
that, you know, believe that you have to vote for someone because of their skin tone. I mean, they're just as racist as the people that are saying, "Hey, don't vote for the guy because he's black." It's like,
nobody wants
what
to
if,
be
what if,
measured
you
by
know,
that. Nobody wants to be judged.
I mean,
by
what
their
if, what if
race,
Joseph
you know?
Stalin was black?
Yeah.
I mean, would you still support him?
cares?
What if Hitler was black?
Right.
I mean, would you still support him? A lot of the policies and things that Fear Obama is doing is pretty much identical to Hitler and Stalin, and everyone's like, "Man, you're tinfoil hat, crazy conspiracy guy." I gotta watch the clock here, and I'll get into that on the other side of what I'm about to say.
Okay.
So, we have Syria going on, we have Snowden going on. Bradley Manning was sentenced. He didn't get the aiding the enemy sentence, but he did get, 90 years to life or whatnot.
That was a bait and switch, huh? It really got people to think, yes, Snowden or Bradley Manning got off, and then boom. No,
right, and then we also have the Fort Hood shooter. He's about to be arraigned, I guess is the term that I'm looking for. I'm not a lawyer, but they're gonna finally do the the proceedings, the final proceedings of the case, and he's basically gonna get sentenced now. I'll get into what I think about that some more into detail. But let's get back to what we had initially started talking about, and that was Fukushima.
Yeah, Fukushima.
So, what are your thoughts in terms of how that's going to affect the entire planet?
Well, I think we need to turn on the radiation monitors, you know.
That'd be a start.
Yeah, I think that if we have turned any of them off, we need to turn them back on. If we have raised any safety levels, we need to lower those safety levels to what they were pre-Fukushima,
right?
May 2011, kind
Correct.
of, something like that.
Right.
March.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, March 2011. So we're in day 900
a couple months
now.
before the end of the world.
Right. We're day. Yeah, I know. Right. All that.
All that garbage.
Crazy Christian
I
stuff.
shouldn't
Right.
say that.
So, with that said, 900 days into it, and
it's worse. And now, like, somebody posted some photos, and it looks really foggy. It looks foggy. It's like you can't. I don't know. But
it's alleged that the sea is boiling.
But the whole point is that what happened back in March of 2011 never stopped.
Right, and let me ask this question: has it been part of a cover-up since day one? Do you think?
Yes, definitely.
TEPCO. What do you think about TEPCO and the International Atomic Energy Association and their involvement with litigation of stopping the leak and the deployment of the Fukushima 50, the heroic, some are saying it's now 500, 1,000, that these brave men and women that are going into this, melted down radiation, nuclear facility.
I think what you're gonna see is everybody blaming everybody else. So GE is going to be blaming TEPCO. TEPCO, for some reason, TEPCO is actually stepping up and kind of taking the full brunt of this whole thing. It's just like,
I wonder if that's the remnants of the Bushido culture.
Could be.
Where there's still a little bit of it left in Japan. They've been sexualized to the point of where pornography is like an art form in Japan.
They've been brutalized.
After World War II, their culture was just
country has
ravished and destroyed.
Them, and there is no reason to build nuclear power plants, period. There is no.
I agree.
There's an even less reason to build them.
So you're backing coal, though?
Next to the island, on these islands.
But are you backing coal?
Yeah, I back coal, I back solar, I back anything that will really work. That is not going to possibly cause people to die.
Do you believe that coal could possibly end the world?
Coal?
The usage of burning coal.
I don't know.
I don't believe so. Plants
burning coal is not going to
plants breathe in carbon dioxide. And modern coal facilities in the United States, which have the highest EPA regulations in the world, we're like a jewel in terms of the green movement, in terms of coal burning.
What are we going to do about this whole Fukushima thing? Like, how do we keep this going?
Right. I think ultimately what needs to happen, and I'm not no nuclear physics expert, But I think at this point in time, the world literally needs to unite. And I'm not saying we need to create a one world government. We're running out of time here. I don't think we should have one world government to combat this problem. But I do believe that we should come together as a world, individual nations, individual sovereigns, people of the planet, come together and fix it. I mean, we spend so much money on war.
Shouldn't we just get rid of all
course.
of our nuclear power
Right,
plants?
but right now we can't do that.
Why not?
We can, but Fukushima is still going to be there. We have to eliminate Fukushima. Of course, continue to push to shut down all the other nuclear facilities in the world based on the actions of Fukushima. What was that? The island, 3 Mile Island disaster, one of the first. And then Chernobyl, of course, everyone remembers Chernobyl. I mean, I was in kindergarten at the time. That was back in the 80s.
Right.
But regardless, these are nuclear, man-made, catastrophic
catastrophes,
disasters.
This is horrible.
That have circumstantial damage, or just damage that can last millions of years. We're talking half-life of radioactive particles of 50 billion years. We're not talking coal-released CO2, which in a few hours plants are going to breathe that in. I mean, carbon dioxide is not a poison. In terms of all the other bad stuff that comes with coal, I do agree. Mining the coal is very dirty. There's a lot of environmental damage done doing that. But compared to disposing of nuclear waste, fission and fusion materials, radioactive cesium, and all these different isotopes, I think I'll take my chances with coal. And I'm not being funded or paid for by big coal and big oil to say this. I ultimately believe that we should get off coal completely.
Solar?
And nah, not even solar.
Why not?
Solar's great. Solar's great, but there's tons of other alternative energy forms out there, like harvesting ether, and everyone's gonna say, "Man, you're just a conspiracy theorist saying that." But there are other methods of energy generation that Nikola Tesla has demonstrated early in the early 1900s, and
yeah, but
those solar, of course. I'm not against solar in any way. I believe
whatever works. I mean,
right, as long as it's not nuclear or coal or oil. I mean, in terms of nuclear versus coal, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to go with coal on this one. But in terms of an ultimate solution to everything, coal, nuclear, oil are not the answer. There's, like I said, there's other methods, like solar, you said. I mean, we have the technology now, 3D printers. Everyone could literally 3D print solar panels now. And just coat your neighborhood, coat your entire house. Just buy a 3D printer and start making solar panels. The technology is out there. We're just not being told about it. It's being suppressed. We're being lied to. And we're being sold down the river that nuclear energy is the only alternative to fossil, quote-unquote, fossil fuels such as gas, oil, and coal. So again, we're way over time. I told Greg that I wasn't gonna do that, but unfortunately I did. So we'll see you on the other side. We're gonna do another quick segment if we have time.
Yeah. And a hot topic to talk about.
Yeah, we'll see you on the other side. There's a lot of things going on. Like I said, we'll be talking about the 10th Amendment, Syria, Snowden, the Fort Hood shooting verdict, and a few other topics that maybe I didn't mention, but guaranteed you'll have another segment with a lot of interesting topics. See you guys on the other side. Peace.
Come back to me, baby. Come back to me, baby.
Just come home and we can work it all out. We can try to figure out what all the problems are about. How we got to the beginning, how we try to find an ending. No pretending a minute, you said I did but I didn't. Call it water under bridge, but the river is dry. There's a problem to be fixed and believe I will try to find why in your mind you think of running away. Why you never found a home, any place to stay.
In a world of diamond dreams, a world that never gave you anything. You feel like nobody loves you, 'cause nobody showed you how real life was gonna be. In a world of broken dreams, a world that lives inside your fantasies. You feel like nobody loves you, so no one can show you how real life's supposed to be. You
walking in the rain. You don't understand, you can't relate. There's too much food up on my plate. No love is felt, no.
I don't know. I'm waiting for Yoda. I'm half convinced that he doesn't actually exist.
So you
in the
haven't even
series.
gotten to Yoda.
No, I went 40 minutes into the second Star Wars movie, and it was nothing but do 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 do. You know, oh, we're going through the asteroid belt. You know, one of these days, Princess Leia. Oh, and he gets all pissed off because she's more into the pansy. Oh my God, this guy drives me nuts with the Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's like the hero, but he's not. He's like within 5 minutes of that movie, he needs to be saved. The hero needs to be saved. As far as I'm convinced, I think it's Han Solo, the guy that one actor, Indiana Jones actor. As far as I'm concerned, that's the real hero of the series. Harrison Ford is the actual. He fucking steps up, and Luke Skywalker just whines like a little.
Yeah, he's the bully.
Well, because you haven't seen the other two, you trust me.
Okay.
He's not the hero. He's not.
Don't
Okay.
spoil
all
it
right,
for
all
him.
right. That's all I'm gonna say.
Big counter.
And I'm out.
Rocky's the hero.
Rocky.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna spoil that too. I think. 'Cause
No!
You haven't finished that either.
No,
I
no.
can't help. I don't mean to. I never heard
Just
of
try.
any spoilers. I'm just like, man, I've always wanted to know.
See, this when I'm hearing you guys, this sounds like a radio show.
What's up, everybody? I'm Manny, and this is
Greg.
and we're chilling here, continuing our segment, talking about what we were talking about earlier. We just concluded talking about Fukushima and day 900. Yes, day 900, that's correct. In fact, by the time you see this, it's probably going to be day 910, day 920, maybe even day 1000, maybe even day 1500. Hopefully the leak will be done by then, and this will be
You
old
can't
news.
stop this. How do you stop it?
Right.
How do you
Like I
stop
said, an international world effort needs to be created to just literally everyone come together right now and save the planet. I mean, all the money we spend on nuclear weapons and arms and all this stuff, you know what? Let's take a break for a second. We don't need to be Team America World Police, and let's fix it. So with that said, we were talking about Syria. We could talk a lot more about Fukushima, but we're strapped for time here. So Syria and nuclear radiation is another topic that is going to be brought up in this whole discussion about Syria. But first, I'm going to let Greg talk about the false flag and what's going on in Syria, because you've been following the Syrian. I mean, not saying you're following it to the T, but the actions and things that have been going on with the news, within the news, and everything we've seen. So
it definitely looks like they're setting up a false flag.
Right. So
right now, and it looks like the whole war is going to start this weekend, and because it's a 3-day weekend, it's very important that we try to get this video out before then, because we need those voices to let them know that we know that you're going to start some type of war. You're going to do some type of false flag. And
we're not buying it.
We're not buying it.
We're not buying it. Would you like to get in a little bit about the rebels and who they are, being Al-Qaeda?
Well, this is Al-Qaeda. I mean, any way that you cut it, what happened in Libya, you had Al-Qaeda flags flying high there. I guarantee you.
So the Benghazi attack, was the Benghazi attack conducted by Al-Qaeda? There's allegations being thrown around that it was Al-Qaeda that actually did that raid.
Al-Qaeda was there. They were there, just like they're always there.
But who is Al-Qaeda? Is it the CIA?
Al-Qaeda, I guess, is a database. It's a computer program.
Oh, for the FBI,
right?
So it's just a database in the FBI.
I mean, there might be many different Al-Qaedas, the same way that there are many different Lee Harvey Oswalds. You know what I mean? So, but Al-Qaeda is the base, right? That it means that they're the base here. But we do know that they were in Libya, and so we can be guaranteed that they will be in Syria too, and
But there's
I
also
guarantee that they're already there.
Well, yeah, there's been confirmed reports
They're
that
there. Yeah, come
that
on.
Al-Nusra, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it stands for the courageous or something along those lines in Arabic.
Bandar Bush. Bandar Bush is definitely a big guy to really look at because they're saying that he's funding the rebels. And I do believe he was. They call him Bandar Bush, but Prince Bandar from Saudi Arabia.
Right, Bush's
but Bandar
cousin.
Bush, whatever. You know,
Their best
but
buddy,
he was.
butt buddies.
He's a big tie into 911 too. I think, you know. So you have to look at the possibility of a false flag happening there, and the fact that
If you look at WorldNet Daily, there's an article where they have their Arabic-speaking unit searching the internet, looking at Al-Qaeda websites, quote-unquote, the base,
okay.
And seeing what these quote-unquote Islamic extremists are doing. And they have a translator who could speak Arabic. They came across videos of, well, all in Arabic, the quote-unquote terrorist groups. I'm not saying these are true Muslims. These are fake Muslims, infiltrators, that make these videos where it's all this Arabic music in the background, like Allah, like just this, like sounds like a symphony or whatever. And in the videos, they're loading mortars with the chemical munitions, and basically saying it's for Allah and Allahu Akbar and all that good stuff that they normally say, quote unquote. You know, you hear it all the time. And this is a confirmed video of Al-Qaeda actually carrying out the chemical attacks in Syria, but we don't see that in the news at all. So again, I have to leave this to the American people. Are you gonna go by what the government official story is and what they're saying? I mean, there's videos on the net. I mean, Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, whatever they're called, these terrorist groups, they're technologically somewhat savvy. Granted, they're, you know, backwards. Muslims no better than hillbillies that are backwards, you know, crazy radical Christians that kill you because you're not white. They're no different. It's basically the same type of scenario, just in a different country with a different religion. So these groups, these radical groups, will create these videos and they put them on the net. They want to be, you know, glorified. They want the word to get out. So you can find it for yourself. Don't rely on what Fox and CNN's going to tell you. They're going to tell you a scripted story, just like Kerry, Skull and Bones member, George Bush's cousin, who happens to just be a Democrat. Oh, and he ran against them in 2004, just in case you forgot. He's the biggest cheerleader for the full invasion into Syria. So look into that. Look and see what you can prove. The chemical attack, in my point of view at this time, based on what the evidence is showing, and as best as we can do in terms of research, is that the rebels, the Syrian rebels, the anti-Assad forces carried out this chemical attack on themselves. Another thing to add, because we are strapped for time, is the simple fact that weapons of mass destruction line was toted to get us to go into Iraq. It's the same exact script that George Bush used to get us to invade Iraq. The complete fabrication. There were no weapons of mass destructions. Schwarzkopf had all the receipts. He knew that everything was destroyed, and when he died, he took that secret with him. But the same thing is going on in Syria. We're seeing the same war drums being beaten, the same allegations, and the same party, for that matter, the Ba'ath Party, which was Saddam Hussein's political party, which is an Alawite Islam party, which a lot of, if I'm not mistaken, the Sunnis do not like. And the Sunnis are in Saudi Arabia, Wahhabis, whatnot. They're trying to take them out of power. So it's a sectarian, tribal issue, but there's also a lot of Christian protection coming out of the Alawite and the Ba'ath Party. Saddam Hussein's cabinet members, or some of them were actually Christians. So I guess they're somewhat moderate, but they get used and they're quote-unquote evil because of what Saddam had done. But a lot of that was CIA, and that's all documented and proven. CIA helped Saddam carry out the Iranian gassings and all that. So,
well, you know, I would just add that, you know, all that we need to do now is to look at the proof. What proof does our government have that the Syrian government use chemical weapons on their own people, and what proof do we have that it's possible that our government used chemical weapons on
and
the Syrian
that's what
people
need to be asking. We need to we got fooled once. We're not gonna get fooled again. We got fooled by Bush. We're gonna get fooled by Obama. We're running out of time. We're gonna do another 5 minutes here. And we were talking about earlier. We said we were gonna mention the Fort Hood shooter. There's a lot of interesting things coming out of that case. He was given free helicopter rides by the United States Army during his time locked up and going to court. There's just a lot of weird things around that. There's also allegations of multiple shooters on site. He was under psychiatric evaluation. He was under the close watch of the NSA, CIA.
What's this guy's name? You know,
Hassan, General Hassan.
General Hassan?
Or not General Hassan. I just remember his last name, Hassan.
Hassan?
Yeah. And he carried out this terror
creepy
attack
looking
in
guy.
Fort Hood,
Yeah.
where 22 people were, was it 22 people killed?
It's a lot. Yeah.
There was and he was using an exotic round in a pistol type weapon. They say that it wasn't even, I don't know, you gotta look into it. And all that I'm saying is, like I said, there's so many things being thrown at us. It's very difficult for every single one of us to keep up with the news and all the breaking stories and everything that's going on, especially when we're at the brink of World War III. Syria has been taking a lot of, I guess, the hindsight, but again, Miley Cyrus seems to be the talk of the town.
Well, this is Russia, really, because the whole question is how are these countries going to act like this is a Cold War, and
Well, it's a proxy war,
and actually do a proxy war, and at the same time be up in space chilling.
Well, then there you go. Now we're getting into the New World Order. I mean, I'll get into this. Before we get into the 10th Amendment,
You're not going to leave this
so the
planet.
New World
That's all
Order,
I know.
I'm
It's
just
not
going to
gonna
say
happen.
this about the New World Order elite. The New World Order elite are literally in bed with all the superpowers of the world. China was put into power by the State Department of the United States, the communist regime.
It's a global thing. It's a global
Right, it's a
government.
global, it's a culling. I mean, we look at the Georgia Guidestones. There's a death cult that exists in the world.
So then, what is happening? You know, what?
So Syria is
what
trying to
this
get us.
Syria?
Syria is trying to bring us into the Grand Cold, where we're cold from the world. CULL. Look
You know,
that word
we're-
up.
you
We're
know-
not. We're not cattle, and that's what they want to do to us. They want to eliminate 80 to 90% of the world's population, and this is written in the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah.
This is not a conspiracy theory. This is an actual plan.
But then
put into
nobody
place
really
by the
knows
United
who
Nations.
actually, nobody wants to take credit for the Georgia Guidestones.
Right, but again, we see.
But it's definitely real. It's definitely
yeah, the Georgia Guidestones are there. You could go see them for yourself.
real. And so is
they
what
were
is
vandalizing the face. Even.
everything that is happening in Syria and everything that is happening to those children there is very, very real, man.
And it's also biblical, if you want to get into
Sad.
that.
It's really sad.
Even the Quran talks about things like this. The
And
end of the world
the whole fact that
begins
this-
in Damascus.
This
and-
shooter that you're talking about too, it's like it's all to just
demonize Islam.
yeah,
They're using him to demonize Islam,
It's-
saying he was Al Qaeda extremist and all this.
the whole Boston bombing thing. It's
Another one?
the same thing, man.
Yeah, and that's another
It's the same
topic I didn't even mention, and that's another hot topic that's being completely ignored. The Boston bombing suspects, one of their best friends, and I'm going to use the word suspects because everyone says the Boston bombers.
Michael Hastings is another.
That's another topic
Interesting.
of discussion that we completely
'Cause
overshot.
I would like to know
There's
what killed him.
Like I said, there's so many issues, bro.
But where is the where is the proof that that we pulled off 911? Some of these guys some of these leakers, some of these people have got to have that proof. That's the proof.
Well,
that
one
I-
of the
you
things,
know,
and
that I
it's
want.
interesting that
we
some,
wanna see.
a lot of people say Assange is, anti 9/11 truth and this and
Well,
that.
because
man, Assange is
that's
Assange,
by-
and I
by
don't even
his
care.
own words.
Right, and I don't even care
And
much
he's not talking
for
about
for
this.
Assange's opinions and points of views.
Don't trust people,
And
that
people
aren't
trying to-
talking about 911.
Right, but let me
Don't
finish.
listen to
Let me
them.
finish this. WikiLeaks, not Assange, but WikiLeaks. The 9/11 cables. Read them. I'm gonna leave it at that. Read the 9/11 cables, and you'll see evidence of mysterious things, like explosions, things blowing up, and these are pages, Nextel two-way pagers, going back and forth, just thousands and thousands of messages that hackers in the group Anonymous leaked out. They helped leak it out. They
Yeah,
got
but-
these
yeah, but-
out. They hacked
But
the
how do you know?
databases.
But how do you know that they're real?
How do you know they're fake?
But that goes both ways.
So there you go. You trust your gut instinct, and you read them for yourself, and you go, "Wow, this is hardcore."
Yeah, but it can
It's
still
like
be
with
fake.
any. It's like with any government document. any government document can be fake, just like the official 9/11 Commission report.
Well, yeah, but
You go with
but
what your
if
gut
it,
tells
if
you.
it comes from the actual government, that's different than if it comes from a hacker group that claims to, you know.
I don't know. I can't
If
say
you
that.
find the same document,
Well, there were allegations that the
government,
databases
then
were hacked, and
what do you
that
say?
that data
You know?
did come from the government databases, so it was governmental database information. So again,
so
the
then
hacks were.
it should be you should be able to find the same file in the government database
Well,
somewhere.
If they didn't delete it, like the NSA and FBI routinely does, they destroy their own documents. They use the protocol, the Department of Defense, DoD 3 and the 7 different methods of data destruction and protocols that they have of destroying sensitive documents. In the movie Argo, they initiated one of the protocols where they're systematically destroying documents to eliminate all evidence of whatever was going on. So it's protocol for government to delete and eliminate documentation of actions. So you never know. And like I said, I'm not saying that I put 100% faith in the WikiLeaks, but what I am saying is that
It's
let
worth reading.
your gut
It's
tell
worth
you what you believe is real. Take things with a grain of salt and read and learn.
Yeah,
And
it's
what
just,
you get, like I said, what you
it's
start.
just when you go from these sites that are, from these places that are acting like 9/11 was not a big deal, or
WikiLeaks is
9/11,
not Assange,
you know.
bro. WikiLeaks
I'm
is
just
not
saying,
Assange.
man.
Everyone thinks Assange is WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks is not Assange. Assange is just a front man puppet living in the limelight, trying to be a hero like he's Zero Cool or something from the movie Hackers. He's nothing special. What's special are the people that get the information out, like Snowden. Let's get on the topic of him. All that he did was leaked out government documentation of a spying program, which is illegal. And he told us, hey, this is what's going on. People in the government need to be held accountable for this and go to jail. What ended up happening? He became the criminal in this tyrannical regime that we live in. We no longer live in
Now
the
he's in
United States.
Russia. First he goes
Yeah.
to Hong Kong, then he goes to Russia.
Right, and everyone says, oh, Russia's this communist country. Well, I got news for you.
It's actually a capitalist
communism
country,
in Russia
right?
fell back in 1989.
Yeah.
So
Actually, Russia looks like our country. From what Russians have told me, Russia looks like our country back in the 80s and 90s. Very prosperous, but that's all going to change too.
Well, with World War III, if it happens. But I don't know what you're gonna say. I didn't mean to cut you off. I mean, it all could change for the worse. Putin is starting to turn into somewhat of a dictator, I think.
I
And a
would
lot of
think
Russians
that-
dislike Putin, from what I've heard.
I
don't
really
know.
think Putin is doing the same thing to his people that our president is doing to us. They're
I
playing
would
us.
100% agree with that
They're
statement.
totally playing us, and that's
the
why
T.
this whole Syria thing, even this whole Snowden thing, seems like a play.
It's a game of cat and mouse.
It's like almost like actually you start with the Boston bombing
Right.
because you have
Scripted
it
false
where
flag.
you have the whole Chechenian terrorist
to
thing,
demonize Russia.
and we've always known that. Well, who has been funding those the Chechenian terrorists? It has always been
The United States.
USA, right? So
to
then
destabilize Russia.
to destabilize Russia, which
People
always
would ask why would they do it.
which always looked weird because Russia would never call them out on it. They're playing this game.
So
They're
then
playing this
let's get into
game back and forth
Let-
to really get us.
let's get into the New World Order.
Well, this is a fear tactic here. And the whole thing is that really the biggest fear that we have is Fukushima, and they're not focusing on that.
Well,
on
that for the
on
informed
something
for the,
that we
for the
should
people that are
probably
informed.
really be scared about.
For the people that are informed, right. People
they're
that are
really
informed,
focusing
they're
on Russia versus USA,
Right,
which
and
is
that's not
going
even an
to
issue.
cause corporate wealth. Is going to cause
big time. Banks
more
are gonna
people-
flourish.
Man, yeah, I mean, this is going to be.
Is it
a
in the
corporate
best?
heaven.
Is it in the best interest for Russian, American, and Chinese banks to go to war?
Yes, because they will all profit. They could all be working together to create this war as a false flag.
Do bankers die in wars? Did the Rothschilds die in World War One?
Even if
World War
bankers
II?
die, the actual banks and the banks that they represent will never die.
Right. Well, the
Because
Rothschilds, they didn't die.
They will.
They were there
be
on both sides of the war. They're funding both sides.
Yeah, I doubt you'll find them on any of the front lines of any war.
Their cousins and all that
Right.
stuff. Right. So what I was trying to get into.
Yeah.
Again, we're still strapped for time. I keep saying that. I mean, I probably said that like 30 minutes ago. Okay, so the grand design, and this is what G. Edward Griffin talked about, and I urge every one of you to look it up. What he talked about was the merger of Communist Russia and Democratic Republic USA. Watch the documentary. A lot of what he talks
the one world order. I mean,
Yes.
you're talking about a one world
Right.
thing, but I
and
think
that's what I.
But they seem really really happy with the 1984 where they're saying we've always been at war. You know,
Exactly,
you've
and
always
that's
had,
part of
and
the agreement
you've
of
always
control.
had Russia,
How
China. and
how would you control your populace? What's one of the easiest ways to declare martial law?
fear?
Well,
Fear.
war.
Right.
So
But-
if
but-
the war,
but how
let
do
me
you-
finish. So check it out. My bad, because I was asking you a question and you were answering it. I didn't mean to cut you off. If you start a war, a world war. Okay, let's look at Russia and let's look at China.
This might be the world war.
Let me just make sense of this. What's happening in China right now that a lot of people have no clue is happening?
The algae.
Every day there's riots and civil unrest against the Communist Party. And we're talking thousands of protests.
That you never hear about.
That you never hear about because the Chinese government media is just suppressing everything.
Well, they don't
And
have
what
a
does
choice,
get out and what
because
does
it's
get out,
government run.
well, their New World Order. China's New World Order.
Well, it's the government run.
Authoritarianism.
I mean, the people are
Right,
are all cool,
right.
but
Well, yeah,
it's
the people of China, I love the people of China. You have some wonderful culture.
and they
The
know
history
how,
is great.
how
You
their
know, the
government-
language is just this amazing, you know,
We got the same
language.
problem
It's
here.
tight, you know what I'm saying?
The government sucks.
Yeah, our government sucks too.
Sorry.
But all that I was trying to get at is this simple fact that the Illuminati, I guess you could call them, the New World Order elites, are the top level officials of these nations. At the drop of a dime, they will sell out their people because in the game of chess, kings don't die. They just get put in a check. And what happens when you put someone in check? You control them. So if all, not if, so all these world nations, China, Communist China, Russian Federation, United States of America, the European Union, which is more and more acting like a country than individual European states, working together, negative and positive aspects of all this, in terms of getting full control over the lives, minds, and complete full spectrum dominance over their populace. Like I said, China has been having major issues trying to keep their people from revolting against the communist regime. Russia has been having a lot of problems with gangster crony capitalism, where mafias have literally taken over the country.
Well, and they're
they're not even true
It's just
capitalists.
basically they're not
Putin's
giving.
just another gang.
They're just giving. Well,
He's
you
just
have
the biggest gang in Russia.
Here are your choices. You have Putin, or the choice that Putin chooses.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
That's
So
your
Russia is a
government.
thugocracy. The United States is a thugocracy.
But they're
China-
all working.
Exactly.
Towards
So
the same
the
purpose.
easiest way to kill your own citizens.
These are different families in the same mafia.
right.
You know.
Right. They're all at the table conspiring together, saying, "Hey, we're gonna attack you. We're gonna kill your people for you." You know, China's having an issue of controlling their people. Well, what's in the best interest of China when the inner party is going to be buried 7 miles underground in a deep underground bunker? I mean, it's going to be glass parking lot above surface.
Yeah. Try taking 3, 4, 5 Bibles into China. They're gonna look at you like you're some terrorists.
Right. Right.
They're
But
not-
But
it's-
like I said, they're trying to
not
control their
happening.
people. Religion breaks controls, and a lot of people will always say religion is about control. Christianity broke controls of fascist regimes.
Well, I don't see Christianity as a religion.
Well, whatever you see it as.
Not as a
A
religion.
spiritual movement, a religion,
believe
a
in it.
following, or whatever you want to call it.
You find
they break methods of control. Slavery, for example, in the United States, lots of Christians came to the table and said, hey, look, this ain't right. You're only a slave to God, not to a man. Let me finish this off. The last thing in terms of all this, look at the IMF. Look at the World Trade Organization. Look at Interpol. That is the world body government. Uniform Commercial Code is the world law that they all operate under. Russia Incorporated, China Incorporated, United States Incorporated. There are no nations. There's only corporations in this new world order. In our eyes, we have nations. In my eyes, I am a nationalist, and I love the California Republic. That is my country. And the contract that my country signed to the Republic of the United States, well, right now it's not really being fulfilled by the federal government. They're not really doing their job in terms of the contract. Let's talk about the 10th Amendment a little bit. State sovereignty over federal jurisdiction is what the 10th Amendment is about. Read it for yourself. People don't even know what the 10th Amendment is. It basically grants states their rights separate from the federal government. The Founding Fathers knew that a central form of government would not care about the rights of the state. A central power, a federal power, would not allow a constitution to operate based on the fact that they're going to push laws and legislation from a central body thousands, if not hundreds, whatever miles away from the state that's under their jurisdiction. The 10th Amendment gives a state the ability to operate autonomously under its own rights, under its own constitution. The Republic of California has its own constitution with over 100 amendments. Every state has their own constitution because they're a republic. They're a country. They just signed a contract saying, hey, we're going to join the union. And they did. But like I said, the problem right now is that we have to realize our 10th Amendment rights are being violated. We look at gun laws being violated in California through order of the Fed to confiscate people's guns. Legally obtained guns, for that matter. Just like the gentleman in California, in Sacramento, the Latino fellow, shoot, I forgot his name, or Hispanic or Chicano, whatever you want to call the guy. I'm terrible with names, but he had his guns confiscated. He was Mexican American. He speaks Spanish. He has a YouTube channel, Warrior for God 13 or something like that. His guns were taken. So research it yourself. The 10th Amendment is there to protect us from a usurper federal government. Marijuana laws, let's talk about that. State right saying, hey, look, we voted on the right to sell marijuana as a prescription drug, but the federal law says no, that's not okay. So they come in and invade state sovereignty. They say the state doesn't matter. Well, why do we even have states if states can't pass laws that the federal government is just going to say, hey, we're going to arrest your citizens for practicing that law? What's the point of the states? Well, the 10th Amendment tells us the rights of the states are higher than the federal government. But again, we have policy, we have Uniform Commercial Code, the IRS. All these governmental bureaucracies are created years after the Constitution was even written. These SARs that have created their positions of power, like the EPA, they are the rulers of this world, of this land. They overstep state law. They invade state sovereignty. So again, I urge every single one of you to look into the 10th Amendment and find out what it really means. Because I'm sad to say this, but 90% of Americans probably don't even know the Constitution exists, or what it even is. I was talking to one of my friends earlier today about, do you really think Americans are dumb? Well, actually, I was talking to you. I don't think Americans are dumb, per se.
I knew it. See?
But
right.
what I do believe is that Americans are dumbed down by design. And this is shown through the educational system, where it's like, you graduate from high school, can't even spell diploma. No child left behind. Our potential has been eliminated and held back. We have geniuses being put into special ed in this country because they're so brilliant and smart. The curriculum doesn't know how to deal with them because the curriculum is A, B, C, D, or E. No thinking, no application of knowledge. Just, do you remember multiple choice? You got 1 out of 4 chances of getting it. That's what we've become. We're dumbed down by design. And not every one of us is dumb. You know, some of us choose to be dumb. And I see that a lot, and it's very sad. And I think that's part of the normalcy bias and the Stockholm syndrome that has mass plagued this country. The whole mentality of, oh, that can never happen here, so I'm not going to research it. Oh, we'll never see tyranny in the United States. We live in the land of the free. Why am I going to research it? So you're being stupid and dumb by choice. You know, I can't force anyone to read. But maybe I could show them something and get them to think. And that's all I'm trying to do here. But again, I don't, you know, like I said, I have faith in humanity, and I said that before. You know, as things continue to get worse, people are forced into the position of having to research and find out, why is it like this? You know what I'm saying? Why are things so bad? Why can't I go to Jamaica because I wanted to have a honeymoon there? Oh, well, the banking system destroyed the currency. I've been making the same amount of money for the past 7 years without a raise, but the price of everything went up. Oh, okay, why is that? A lot of people just don't give a shit. I did. I wanted to know, hey, why is it like this? Again, I can't force anyone to do it. I don't know, maybe it's human nature to not want to know. Maybe it's human nature to not want to be informed. Maybe it's human nature to go along to get along and be a herd society. You know, people say humans are herders. They want to be part of a group, a collective. I agree with that to an extent. I want to be part of a group that's liberty-minded and believes in freedom and liberty and prosperity for all, and not forcing things upon people, but voluntarism, where people volunteer and participate, not by force or coercion like the IRS,
But because they want to.
but because they want to. The IRS forces you to pay taxes. What happens if you don't? You go to jail. You get locked up. You get SWAT team. You might even die. It's unfortunate, but that's what we live in. Like I said, the normalcy bias, the Stockholm syndrome, I don't know what it is. But it just seems like people want to be slaves. They want to be in their ignorance. But then again, there's a quickening. And a lot of people don't want to be slaves like myself. And other people are seeing what we're talking about.
Like, truth should shine on its own. You should not need to sexualize truth. You don't need to sex it up. You don't need to make it look like anything than what it is. Truth is a light that shines on its own.
Okay, I agree.
And so when I see people that use sexualization to further the truth movement, I have to look at it, well, because you know that their heart is in the right place. Mostly, at least the people that I know that do
well,
that,
myself, I
their
do that.
heart is in
I
the
do
right
that.
place.
I do that.
You know, so it's
Right.
like, so it is different than if I was just someone who. So then that makes me think, well, what if I saw someone that I didn't know? You
Right.
know, like, well, okay, well, maybe their heart is in the right place
Right.
too.
So okay. So
Maybe,
so
I don't
where it draws down to. Speaking from doing it myself, sexualizing things and
Sexualizing truth.
yeah, sexualizing the truth, making truth sexy, making it a topic of sexiness, making it something that's
Well,
hot.
no, but
making it
just
something
like
that's cool.
showing
No, but that-
showing a
that's-
woman's boobs, showing her
Right,
her,
and that-
her
and
boobs,
that-
and then saying something like,
Right,
you
and
know,
just vaccinate.
911 was an inside
Right,
job,
right.
or vaccinate because
Right,
you
yeah,
know,
and
save
that's
your
the one.
kid's
There's
life.
the one of 2 big breasts.
Right, and
vaccinate,
it's,
educate
it's
before you
just
vaccinate.
like, you know,
So
man.
okay, so when
I'm
let's-
not gonna
let's-
I'm not gonna try to pass any law against that stuff, but
No,
I'm
of course
just saying
not.
I just
okay,
don't like it.
so let me say this. My audience was not children. My audience was
No, but
not.
children
let me
might
finish. Let me
they
finish.
might look at
Okay.
your page. They might
Oh
look
well.
at your wall.
Oh
They
well.
might look
I
at
can't
that.
stop.
Oh, well.
I can't stop irresponsible
Oh,
parents
well.
that don't watch what their children
No,
are
but,
doing on
but
the
you
internet.
have an
I cannot
opportunity
stop.
to connect with that
No,
child.
I don't need to.
Face to face.
It's not
you know
my
what I mean?
responsibility.
Facebook to Facebook.
It's not my responsibility to supervise the child and censor myself because parents
No, but you have
cannot.
the opportunity to.
I could.
You could take the
I
opportunity.
could do the
to.
job of the parent and censor myself because
No,
they don't
no,
want to.
no,
They don't. Let me
not
finish.
censor yourself.
That's
But
how I'm. So basically,
Would
what
you
my
want your
demographic.
child seeing that? would you want your child?
I didn't make it for my child.
Right, but would you want your child seeing that?
If they did, I'm a bad parent for letting them see
No,
it.
because you can't control what they see.
Yes, you can.
No, you cannot.
You can control your child's internet
No, you
usage.
cannot.
Yes, you can.
No way. You cannot.
My mom did
control
it to me.
Anybody else.
My mom
No.
did it to me as
But-
best as she could.
But as you know, as kids, you
So
will
with
find
that threat,
a way.
with
If
that threat of
that
bad,
just
okay,
that
so with
just
that,
makes them want
okay,
to.
so with that threat,
seeking out
okay,
more.
so with
you
that
know?
threat of bad parenting, with the threat of children stumbling across something, it's like pornography. I don't advocate pornography because that's one of the Illuminati's goals. You know what I'm saying? They want it to be normal, hearsay. And everyone's like, oh man, you're sexualizing shit. Now you're just being part of the Illuminati. My demographic is never meant to have been children. It was meant to be thinking adults.
Yes, but you have to
But
take
I
into
know.
consideration that the
Okay,
children
I'll consider
will
that. I'll
listen-
consider that.
that they will see.
I
it.
will consider that. And
know?
and a child might see me skinny dipping in a river somewhere and see my penis. Because I was out in the middle of nature thinking I was alone, and all of a sudden a kid stumbled across as they were hiking with their mom and dad, as I did as a child. I remember this as a kid. I saw my first boob when I was probably like 9 or 10 from these two girls that were skinny dipping at a river in my hometown. Okay, skinny dipping's illegal. It's
Right.
indecent exposure. But they still did it. People
Well,
are still
yeah.
gonna do what they do. So my sole intent was to pop a pill into the matrix. Not to offend anybody, not to piss anyone off, but to get to those type of people that have already been brainwashed by the system sexually to actually look at something because there's breasts on it. It's like the old saying
it's just
goes,
brainwashing.
sex sells. Unfortunately,
Sex sells
I'm
lies.
probably bad.
Sex sells lies. It does not sell truth.
I don't know.
Never.
I mean, a
ever.
beautiful
There is
looking
nothing
person,
true.
A beautiful
about
looking
that.
person,
No, because
attracts
truth,
people for whatever reason. I don't know how that works, the law of attraction, whatever. I don't know. I'm not an expert on it. All I know is that
that has
by
nothing
taking
to do
what
with
they-
the message. Nothing.
no, the message is
It-
the message.
It actually
the deliverance of the
clouds-
message
It clouds the actual
for
message.
people like you.
No,
and
no,
people
not
that
for
have your
people
opinion.
like me. I'm saying
There's a lot
it
of people that have
clouds
said that
the
it's
whole
brilliant
message.
and that it's the greatest thing they've ever seen. Internet award to you. You're finally gonna get to the masses by doing this. The only way you can beat them is with their own medicine. You know,
can
I'm not
never
saying
beat
I
them
want to
with their own
go, start.
Even Bruce Lee knew that, man. He said you can't change people with your fist. You know.
Yeah, but
you
Bruce
can't-
Lee
you-
knew that
you
going
can't do
against
that.
other styles, you take every single style and use it against that one style.
No,
It's like,
you take the good of their style. You
right,
take
and that's
the
all that I'm
best
trying to
of
do.
their
It's not like I'm showing
There's
full
nothing
frontal
good in that.
nipples and pepperonis and all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just literally
The whole-
a woman's
The
boobs.
whole thing is that to me that lessens the actual message. I would have rather have had just the actual text than to have had that in it because
Okay, so anyway, okay,
to me
that's
it's
cool.
a cheap way out.
That's cool.
Now,
you know what? That's
now
cool.
this is what I see
That's cool.
in the
I agree,
music
that's fine.
business where they put a hot chick on their CD cover. You know what I mean?
Right, and it's all NLP.
Or they put a hot chick in their music video.
It's all neuro-linguistic programming.
It's just it's trickery. It's trickery, and I don't really condone any.
But
of
I'm
that.
not lying.
I think it all
They're
should
lying.
be, straight out
Am I lying?
in the open.
Am I lying when I do that?
I think this is what I think. I think that your message, what you meant to say, would have been just as effective if you hadn't have.
Would it have
had
as many
that.
likes? Would it have as many shares?
But that's the whole thing. Are we about likes? Are we about shares? Are we about that? Because if we are, then we become.
Well, what are likes and
then-
shares?
then they
What are likes
the
and
enemy.
shares, though?
Those are the
No,
enemy.
but what are likes and shares, though?
The enemy.
No, likes and shares are signs of the word getting out
No,
and
it's
an
not.
actual tangible, like,
No,
oh shoot,
it's not. No,
they're
it's
actually
not.
saying stuff.
No, it's not. You
Maybe
saying
not, I don't
you
know.
saying that truth gets the word out much more than any likes or any shares will ever show you. In my view, from my view, because these are seeds being planted. Those likes and those shares mean nothing. That's the way I see it. There will be a lot more that you will contribute to that you will never know about, and those will
I'll
be
respect
the
your
great ones.
I'll respect your opinion.
That's just my view.
No, I know. I'll respect that you know they don't affect anyone in change. I'll respect that.
They affect change
but my
in,
personal
in
belief,
ways that you will never
my
know
personal
about.
beliefs is that they do. It's those little subliminals that it's like the people that go out and tag like Revolution Now in the middle of like, you know, Starbucks is dining area on the floor, or like, you know, anti-corporatism, and they'll spray paint that on the floor somewhere. It's basically like I'm saying, it's slipping pills into the matrix. I'm not trying to subvert anybody. I mean, it's obvious what I'm doing. I mean, you could see it. I'm talking about it right now. I'm not trying to go behind executive closet doors and say, all right, here's how we're gonna make Miley Cyrus look and, you know, sell sex, but we're gonna act like that's not what we're doing.
No, but
you know what I mean. I'm gonna be straight up and honest. I'm telling
thing.
the audience and the people.
Doing the same thing.
I'm
they're doing.
not. I'm not lying to people. I'm
You're
telling them
lying
the
to
truth.
people.
I'm
You're
using
lying to
a
people.
flashy image that like Miley Cyrus.
It's
When I made the
trickery.
one, like
It's
when I
trickery.
made the one about Miley Cyrus, it was like she's holding that little hand thing with the red finger or whatever, pointing at Syria. Everyone was hyped up. Miley Cyrus, Miley Cyrus. Okay, give them what
Yes,
they want.
because that's part of the brainwashing that they're putting on people.
So right.
So you're contributing to them.
So I'm adding to the brainwashing.
That's what I would think. Not
I'll let you
personally,
have those
but
personal opinions,
when
bro. That's
you-
cool.
But when
I don't
you
believe that I'm adding to the
support-
brainwashing. but-
When you support the sexualization and when you use their same tactics, which are sexualization, because you never know what child or what person is going to be looking at anything on there. We have a huge
so
responsibility.
then we need to completely
to
censor
be
the
truthful.
internet.
No, it isn't about censoring. It's just about being truthful. And it's about having faith that the truth can stand on its own without the trickery, without the sexualization, and without, you know, any of the over hype. Because of the truth is a rock. It's not a pretty rock, but it's a rock.
Well, we'll see. We'll see where
Yeah,
they
we'll
go.
see.
I mean, but that's just my 2 cents. You know, if you don't like it, hey, don't look at them. You know, unfortunately, I'm gonna keep making them. It's just
And I'm gonna keep commenting on it.
yeah, that's fine. Do that. That's good. I mean, discussion and debate is what we need. You know,
Sure.
and if I'm going too far, sometimes I need to be told I'm going too far.
You just have to be able to do it civilly. You know, like this is how you have
Like
to be
I said,
able to do it.
I'm not taking full frontal nudity shots. You know what I'm saying? I'm not showing vaginas and penises. I'm literally showing what was on television, on MTV, which is
and I'm
considered.
actually trying to take the time
Which is
to tell my
considered-
friend why he's wrong in doing this. I'm actually taking that time.
Hey, I'm listening.
And you know
I
what?
mean, am I gonna do it? I don't know, but I'm listening.
It might
I'm
take
hearing
me
you out.
10 or 20 years, but I do believe that I'm just not able to articulate the way that I would like to articulate my point on
Right.
this.
Right, and
But,
I'll end my point with different strokes for different folks. Art is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, some people can relate to certain things. Other people will completely dismiss it and hate it. I could bring up another topic like gangster rap. Some people think
Terrible.
it's completely negative and
It
one of
is.
the worst things ever created, and others look at it as
It
poetry
ruined
of
my whole life.
explaining
It ruined me. Dude, it almost got me killed.
explaining things.
It almost got me killed, you know?
Right, it's again
Trying to be a
different strokes,
fake ass
different
gangster.
different strokes for different folks, and you can't reach everyone with one silver bullet message. And that's the way I was looking at those pictures. It was more or less a way for me to break into
Kind of
their
like a
matrix.
desperation, maybe, though.
I mean,
because
hey, we're at the point where we're
not
literally
there.
on
Are
the
we
verge.
there?
I
Are
mean,
we really at the desperation
13
point?
years since 9/11 happened and no new investigation.
Yeah, but it's like 50 years since JFK. Like,
I don't know if it was
it's
desperation or fun.
2,000
It was more or
years.
less, to me, it was fun.
It's 2,000.
It was just
years
funny.
since-
The whole time-
since Christ died.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
but yeah,
come on,
yeah.
man.
But still, I guess maybe I was being selfish because I was taking joy out of making these pictures. It's funny. It's like, how are people gonna react to this shit? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm probably defiling myself. I'm gonna be condemned to hell for making all those photos. But you know
No,
what?
man.
My intent was to wake people up and to break them out of their comas that they're literally in. You know what I'm saying? People are in this social coma.